Welcome to the Practical Ascension Podcast. I'm your host and soul alchemist, Tracy Goody. Stay with me for practical guidance and flow for your modern life through this time of ascension. Today on the Practical Ascension Podcast, I am joined by Haley Hines. Haley is the CEO of Soul Sparkle Inc. Global Experiences and the creator of the Soul Sparkle Collection. She is a mentor to women leaders called to create a soul-centered business and life, a spiritual teacher and author of Becoming a Soul-Centered CEO and the forthcoming book, Soul Sparkle Living, Your Guide to Creating a Magical Life. She is the host of Soul Sparkle Radio and the Soul-Centered CEO podcast and the creator of Soul Sparkle SEVA. What's this? SEVA?
SEVA, yeah.
SEVA, okay, perfect. Yeah. Global Services, Trips, and Experiences and is an expert in transformational travel. That sounds so amazing. Haley is one part fun fairy, one part wise sage with a burning desire to bottle up and light on fire all things magical that bring women back to their own soul and the sparkle within. So today, Haley is sharing with us her wisdom and tips for creating a magical soul sparkle life. Welcome, Haley.
Oh, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you. And Haley and I were just chatting for a few minutes before the call, and her energy is so high vibration and so on fire. So I'm really excited to get this out to our listeners. Now, creating a soul sparkle magical life. This sounds very fun, very powerful. So for you, what does it mean?
You know, for me, it's really a life that's designed to embody like unconditional love and grace. It's a life that is of service, a life that is full of beautiful experiences, magic and mystery and beautiful memories, really. It's doing work that you love with people that you love and places that you love to be that light your soul on fire. So that's kind of my definition, and that's exactly what I've kind of been really creating in my own life, and it's been such an honor and privilege now to be able to share that with others as well.
That feels so good. I love that. And I just want to kind of rewind a little second there where you said being of service. So I would just like to get kind of your take on that, because I know that creates some confusion for people. So being of service versus serving. Do you find a difference there, or what comes up for you around that?
Well, I think it can be both, right? And I've actually just had a conversation this week about this, of how, you know, a lot of times when we think of being of service, like we've got to serve the world or change the world or whatever, it's a lot of doing, right? And it can be doing. So like you mentioned, seva. Seva actually means service in Sanskrit. So it's kind of a service meets sparkle experience where we actually went to Nicaragua, building homes for women, serving meals, that kind of thing. So that would be like the physical act of serving, right? But I think there's another element as well, and it's more being and less doing. And it's like the embodiment of, and when I talk about like unconditional love, I mean that from the inside out. And so it really is stepping into the embodiment of unconditional love and grace, where you literally are changing the world by just showing up and loving and being who you are, which I think is really exciting. So a lot of people don't have time to go, you know, do this or that or the other. So it can actually be a hybrid of the embodiment, the being and the doing as an act of service.
I love that. Yeah, that feels really, really good. It's so important right now at this time too. So can you explain to me a little bit about why you feel that it's really important that we're focusing on this topic? Like, besides the fact, of course, that it feels so amazing, because even hearing you talk about it feels really good. But why is right now a really important time to be focusing on this soul sparkle magical life?
Well, I think, you know, now more than ever, the world needs our light. You know, we are and we can be the lighthouse, right? We can be a way for people to be inspired and to be able to do what they were born to do, right? To do their work in the world. And so I think right now, our ability to raise our own internal vibration and frequency to one of love and grace, that allows us to really create miracles, right? Yes. And not only for ourselves, but for those that are in our lives, and those, maybe it's people that we work with or people that we're in community with. And so I feel like the reason I'm so drawn to talk about it and to and to really embody it is because I know it's possible. And I know it's available to all of us. And so I think giving people the tools and the resources, much like, what you're creating with your work at this podcast, it's like giving people the possibility that there is a way to do life that is different than they're doing it now. And it's available to all of us, And we truly can create a beautiful and magical life if that's what we desire. And it might not look like mine. Mine is a very untraditional probably approach, but it's beautiful and it's amazing. And I think all of us have that dream of, I call it life on the magic carpet ride, where you step on and you just allow yourself to be guided. And it's so much more ease and grace than I've ever experienced doing it any other way than this. So
Absolutely. I totally agree. And it's so unique for each person, like you mentioned too, and that's the thing that I notice a lot too, where people get into this comparison mode. So they're feeling kind of like, oh, well, this is what, a Soul Sparkle magical life looks like her. So maybe that's what it should look like for me. But that's not necessarily the case because, again, my life probably as a mom of 3 here, where I'm kind of like, things have to be fairly solid. I'm kind of staying in one place a lot of the time. And that serves me really great. But for somebody else that might be kind of more of a traveler and might be moving around a lot more, that serves them. But it's still kind of stepping into their own. So how do you think that kind of plays into it? Just everybody's unique way of tapping into that.
Well, I think it's getting really, really clear on what the vision is that you have for your life. What is the initial vision, and then how do you expand that to like the vision beyond the vision, right? So for me, it's funny that you mentioned it. You just teed it up so beautifully. For years, over a decade, my dream was to speak and teach and travel the world, right? That was my big dream, kind of like, an Eat, Pray, Love adventure modification, right? And so literally 2.5 years ago, I put my stuff in storage, and I was supposed to only be gone for 3 months, and I've never gone back, basically. Right? And so I literally just sold all my stuff in storage 2 months ago, and now I'm in Paris, and I'm having this beautiful adventure and experience. And so I think for all of us, it's getting really, really clear, like, what do you desire? What do you desire? So many of us never even pause to think about what we really want our life to look like. We just kind of go with whatever shows up. And so for me, the first step is getting really, really clear on what it is you desire, and then believing that it's available for you, that you deserve what you desire. Because a lot of us don't, we get stuck there. We think, well, that's available for her, but not for me. Or so-and-so can do that, but I can't have everything I've ever wanted. Who am I to have my biggest dreams come true, right? I think that is the next piece. And then I always love to think about, well, what else is possible? What else is possible? And staying in that space of the curiosity and the mystery, to me, is where the magic lives. And that's where, like, even this life that I'm in right now, this dream that's happened, like I mentioned really quickly this week, I realized that it was so much smaller than what's showing up now. Like what's unfolding is so much bigger than what I ever thought was possible, right? So I think it's allowing yourself to continue to stay in that space of magic and mystery of what else, and allow the universe to deliver in a way that you never thought was possible.
Absolutely. And I think the possibility, like you mentioned, that's really the first step, is just being like, you don't have to 100% believe it to get started. You don't have to have all of your beliefs all fixed and magically aligned, but just kind of getting that first step of possibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And also not, not being attached to the outcome of how, I like to think of it like an open palm, right? So like you know exactly what it is that you want to create, or the dream that you have, but then you hold it loosely.
Yes.
You just allow it to rest gently, not hold it tight, because it could, shift and modify, and it may end up not looking the way you thought it would, but it will still be perfect, whatever shows up. I think I think that's a critical piece of all of this conversation too, is just knowing that, hold the intention, get really clear on what it is you want, stay in the realm of possibility, and then hold it loosely. To me, that's the recipe almost for ease and grace, right? For ease and grace without suffering. So,
and that's there is a distinction there. Sorry, go ahead. I kind of cut you off at the end of that.
You're good. Keep going.
So I find that there is a distinction there because, like you're mentioning, whenever you're holding on to something kind of tightly and like kind of rigidly, it's a totally different energy than the way you're talking about it when you're like, what could be next? It's like this childlike energy of like just kind of like exploring and seeing what comes up and just knowing that you are going to be provided for, everything's, taken care of for you, as opposed to kind of like this more grown-up masculine energy that a lot of us are used to, which is like, well, I have to work really hard to get it, and this is exactly what I want, and I'm staying really, really focused on this. And it's kind of like, it is a much more kind of this flowing energy that I find is actually, that's what makes things easier and come to you quicker.
It really does. It really does. And I've done it both ways.
Yes, me too.
Massive, goal setter. I ran strategy and product and innovation for a big corporate organization, and I did that whole thing. And I would set goals in 6 areas of my life every quarter. And I mean, I'm just on it. And I will tell you that now I'm just I have a 9-hour plan. I know what I'm going to do today, at least for the next 3 hours. Yeah. And then I'm just open. I'm open to the possibility, and I find it so much more fun and more, like you said, that childlike awe and wonder. Yes. I think that is everything. And I talk a lot about following my highest excitement. Let's follow, what's the most exciting thing you can do today or this week or whatever? What's the most exciting project? Because that's the one that's going to be the most successful and the most magnetic and draw people to whatever it is you're doing because you're so excited about it, And that's way more fun than a goal.
It is. It totally is. And I have to remind myself of that often because I do. Sometimes I want to go back into, okay, well, let's do this and this and this. And then I start to feel kind of like it's almost exhausting on the energy now that I'm tuned into it. And I say, okay, no, let's try it a different way.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's so much more fun and so much more exciting. And you're right. I think staying in that space of that childlike wonder is the key, because it's also the key. Fun. Yeah, fun. It's way more fun to live from that place than always the rational, logical, more masculine kind of that place, decision-making place.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
exactly. So fun. It is. And it's just kind of learning how to integrate them together a little bit so that you are having that childlike energy, but at the same time, when you need to kind of, show up and do certain things in a structured way, you're not burnt out from doing it all the time. So it flows a lot easier back and forth.
Yes. And that creates just such a lovely hybrid,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's how we're meant to be.
Exactly. Well, that's why we have both of those beautiful energies within all of us,
Yeah. It makes sense.
It's so good. So fun.
Yeah. So for our listeners, those that are really keen and are really resonating with this message, because I know a lot of people are going to really resonate with it, what advice would you give them that they can take action on today?
Yeah. So I would say the first thing is, like we said, getting really, really clear on what you want. I call it a sparkle statement. What is this? What do you want what do you want your life to look like? And write it down with clarity. As if it's already done. That's the other thing too. Writing it as if it's already done. And then just believing that it's possible. And then taking inspired action. I think that's the other thing is you can't just write it down and leave it. You actually have to do things, right? So maybe it's, book the flight or write the first chapter or have that conversation or, whatever it is that would really show the universe that you're committed to the vision. And then it's amazing how things start to unfold and support you. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And again, kind of just coming back to that energy, how the two are married, what I find when you're writing stuff down, you have that childlike energy, but then
Yeah.
you're also using the grounded, that more grounded masculine energy to actually write it out and take the action. And then, like you said, following it up with an actual action to show to the universe. So
Yeah.
it's a real balance of those two.
Yeah, it really is. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like I'm probably going to go do that after we're done talking again, just because it feels so fun to do that.
Yeah.
It's a consistent, like, constant process too. Like, it's not like you do that once and then you're like, okay, now I've done that. Now I move on. I find you have to kind of check in because things
Sure.
can shift and open up for you so much.
Absolutely. And yeah, and I do it honestly, like pretty much daily.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, am I still exactly where I'm supposed to be? Because, I am traveling, right?
Yes.
Like, am I supposed to stay here? Right? Am I supposed to leave tomorrow? Like, that's really how my entire life is around this beautiful alignment of, okay, what is in the highest and best for me today? And I modify and I shift. And sometimes, dreams or projects or people or places no longer are aligned,
Yeah.
so you need to be able to release and let those things go with grace as well, and then stay focused on the things that are continuing to be in the highest and best for you. So yeah, I love the idea of kind of at least periodic, if not
Yes.
daily, revisiting of the plan. So
I
for
love
sure.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that feels really good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
fun.
So a question that I ask all of my guests,
Mhm.
what is a time that you stepped into ascended living? And I feel like this is kind of a sweet spot for you. So move from transformation or challenge or struggle into growth, abundance, and love.
Yeah. Well, I think, it was a really, and I don't think I realized it at the time, but, stepping out of the comfort zone of my corporate job and leaving everything and everyone I knew and putting literally 2 suitcases together and leaving the country, that was a really big and brave thing that I was like, oh, I'm going for it, right? And so
Yep.
for me, saying yes to that experience and really giving myself permission to do life differently was an extraordinary gift. And I would say that really was a huge catalyst for now what I've been able to create and what I've been able and how I've been able to serve from that place because I gave myself permission.
Yes, that's the key. Gave yourself permission. I love that.
Yeah, it really is because so many of us, and still, I work with a lot of women and they're like, well, I just need permission to, and I'm like, you are the only one that can give yourself permission, right? Like that's sovereignty.
Yes.
And true liberation, when you own your own experience, you take the responsibility to create whatever you desire. That to me is the ultimate freedom, and what a gift and what a blessing.
Absolutely. And that taps you into your power too. And then that spirals out more things that continue to open up for you.
Totally. Well, because then it's like a muscle, right? Just like working out.
Yes.
It's almost like you get a little taste of that and you're like, oh my God, I did it. I'm brave. I can do the next thing, and it builds confidence. And then over time, now I'm just like, what is it I want? Oh, great. Why wouldn't I do that? I mean, of course I can do whatever I want. It's all available.
Yes.
And I think too, allowing ourselves, what I've been working with right now, which is super fun, is knowing that the next chapter or the next season or the next dream or vision is right here. And it doesn't have to be 90 days out. It doesn't have to be 5 years. It can be like 2 days or like tomorrow, right? So consolidating timelines and kind of like consolidating suffering. I like to help people eliminate as much of that as possible. I want you to be in your dream life as fast as you can possibly get there, you know? And sometimes you just have to act as if it's already happening, which is what I've been doing. And it's amazing how it literally shows up in like days. It's so fun. It's really a fun game if you think about like
it's so fun. Yeah.
Fun game. I love this game. And if you can master a few of these really simple beliefs and release the ones that aren't serving, it's extraordinary what we can do when we allow ourselves.
Well, we become more magnetic too. I think the more we're raising our vibration and our frequency to match that's, our true selves and our true power, the faster everything speeds up for us.
Yes.
So that I find that kind of like, whenever you want something to come about, when you're working or open to manifesting something, whenever you're in that place of doubt, it's slow, it's a slog. But whenever you're in the place of fun, it speeds up the more you practice it.
Really does. It really does. And then it's almost like it's like the domino effect, right? Because once you go there, once you're in it, you're just like, I think of it as like hummingbird energy, like that highest frequency.
Yes.
And as often as you can get yourself there and stay there for as long as possible, it is extraordinary. The synchronicities and the things and the collaborations and the people and the things and ideas that come through during those moments of magic. And those are the things I feel like, kind of like we talked about, launch us out into the universe in a whole new extraordinary way. And it's so exciting when you go there. I love it. So
I love that. Hummingbird energy. Yes. I like that a lot. Yeah. They are very high vibrational. I like that.
Yes. So good.
So I know that our listeners are definitely going to want to check you out. So what are you working on right now? And I will pop some links in the show notes below, but where can they go to find you online?
Sure. They can find all things Sparkle at soulsparkleliving.com. So that's where all of the experiences, I've just launched a cooking school in France. That's there. All of the courses and things and teachings are there. And right now I'm specifically working on 7 Weeks to Sparkle, which is essentially all of these concepts and these teachings that we've touched on, breaking it down to help you get from where you are right now into your version of a soul sparkling life, whatever that looks like.
Yes. All
the steps that need to happen in order for you to be where you want to be, to create a life that lights you up from the inside out.
Oh, I love it. It sounds so good. Yeah, I encourage everybody to go check that out for sure. So now, as we're kind of wrapping up here, is there anything else that you feel our listeners should know?
I would just say that believe that the life that you've been dreaming of is available for you, and it's on its way. And you literally just have to take the next step into the next iteration and the next evolution of you.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember to check out practicalascension.com for your free membership, access to guided journeys, energy healings, activations, and more to deepen your practical ascension experience. And grab that all in the show notes below. Have an amazing day.